This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
And I'm Christina.
And we got shit to talk about.
We do. We got sent this thing, I think, through Facebook.
Yeah,
right?
on our Facebook group, someone shared the TikTok that is, I'm pretty sure everybody's been talking about.
Did you say Tic Tac?
No, TikTok.
Oh, it sounded like Tic Tac. Okay.
Love a TikTok. That went viral because this girl goes into the hospital. She'd only been going out with this guy for 8 weeks, and he comes home from a work trip that she was supposed to pick him up for. And she's like, oops, sorry. I'm actually in the hospital having a baby. So, I mean, it's not like he didn't know she was pregnant.
No.
I have questions.
No, he knew because she was like 6 months when they started dating.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
And she
a lot very fast.
She put that on her profile that she was 6 months pregnant. And the dude, who usually like isn't into that kind of thing, they're both younger, they're both like in their early 20s. He said that there was something about her picture that he just found endearing. So despite that, he swiped. They'd only been on 3 dates. Now listen, I am not that far removed from a lot of different first dates, and there were a lot of things that I was self-conscious about doing maybe on those dates. Maybe I would look foolish or have those shame receipts.
Early dating's like that. It puts a magnifying glass on everything you think about yourself.
I think it's very brave to be dating like 6.5 months pregnant.
Girl,
like,
who's got the fucking time?
Energy.
I am tired.
I'm tired right now, and I'm not growing any humans.
That's right. And I have grown humans, and you are fucking tired.
But I know a little bit about what goes on in the delivery room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's everything.
Oh, it's
everything. And you're like,
husband.
You've known somebody for like maybe 6 hours, and they are seeing
everything.
All of me.
Yeah. They said, or she said that they'd been dating for 8 weeks. So 2 months.
Yeah.
So she was 8 months pregnant, and the baby came early, and so had to be in the NICU for a week or something like that before she was able to go home. But yeah, I mean, like 2 months is not a lot of time. 3 dates over the course of 2 months is not a lot. To get to know someone well enough for that situation. Like very intense. I mean, luckily it ended really well. They're still together.
Yeah.
He's been very, very supportive. They seem very cute.
It is actually really adorable, but I'm like,
but also,
I'm like, blink if everyone's okay in this situation. What is going on?
I'm probably the most romantically cynical person at this table, and I side eye so hard. Like, I'm like, you don't know each other well enough. You just don't. Like,
yeah. I'm probably like, wish I was the most cynical, but I'm definitely the least. And I'm still over here like, I don't know.
I mean, it seems like if it works, it works.
No.
Like, good for y'all. Like, happy for you. I'm just saying.
I'm just tired. I just can't. And then I'm sorry, like the month after you have a baby, it's just a lot. Your body's going through a lot of things.
But you know what? Thank God for him, because in her TikTok, it really does sound like she doesn't have a lot of support.
Yeah.
Like, she said that her mother was on holiday and flew back in during her labor, but then like as soon as the baby was born, was like double deuces. Like, left right after the baby's born, left her in the hospital by herself.
Resort fees non-refundable.
She's like, I've been planning this trip for a while. It is not my fault that Ollie decided to make an appearance a month early.
Sorry.
Wow. Mom.
Yeah.
Mom's like, I got plans. I'm sorry.
I'm busy.
Well, her daughter's 19, so she's like, I just got you out of the house. I'm just trying to live my life. Like, you know, like,
she really is. She's like,
really,
honey.
No. Oh my goodness. Oh, what else is going on out in the wild, wild world?
I have not been out in the wild, wild world basically at all. Like I said, I went to the mall today that's the first place like I've been in so long. Like I live in sweatpants and leggings now.
Amen.
To the point where like jeans are uncomfortable. Like I'm that
Yes.
person. I was in my jeans all day after going to the mall, and like top button unbuttoned life
Yes.
is like you button it up when you have to go outside, but
Yep.
the minute you're in the door, it's like top button unbuttoned situation. So yeah, I have no idea what's going on out there except for that potentially low-rise jeans are coming back, which
No.
I'm not here for it.
immediately no. I accidentally tried on a pair, and please, Gen Z, if any of you are listening, just please, I'm begging you, do your part in making sure that this doesn't happen. We are all traumatized.
We worked too hard for this.
You don't need that. You don't need that emotional damage. You don't need it. I'm telling you from experience, we all have low-rise PTSD.
Yeah.
Speaking of emotional damage, I did start watching Love is Blind.
Oh, no.
Season 2.
I can't wait, dude. I'm excited.
I have so many opinions. Opinions that I feel like cannot be relegated to the end of this podcast.
Okay.
We have, if you join our Patreon, you can hear our many thoughts that we had about Love is Blind season
That thing
1.
was like an hour and a half, like of disorganized chaos.
Oh,
'Cause
absolute
so
chaos.
much happened in the first season that was off the wall bananas.
Yeah.
Whew.
And most of it began with a J and ended with an Essica, but like absolutely
Exactly.
the most bonkers personality I've ever seen on television until season 2.
Stop it.
Now, there's not a specific Jessica so far. I've
Okay.
only seen the first episode, but there are pieces of Jessica, and there is a male on here named Shane that is just, I mean, the gaslighting.
No.
He has this like giggle that is terrifying.
Ew, I hate it already.
Yeah.
Do you
It's a
see?
giggle and
I couldn't be on this show either because I would be like, I don't want to date any of you. Like, I'd be the worst candidate
Well,
for this
let
show.
me tell you, they did make this huge play at the very beginning of showing that they had different body types
Oh, God.
for the girls.
Congratulate just for the girls. Just for the girls.
Yes. And they had people that were higher up in age. And the only thing these people served in the first episode was the butt of jokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's even
no.
worse. That's even worse than not representing them at all.
Yeah.
Like,
they were
Oh,
literally
no.
only on screen when something
To be like a
dickish
punchline.
was said
To be like a punchline.
about like, I like to go to music festivals. If we went, would I have trouble picking you up and putting you on my shoulders?
No.
That somebody asked a girl.
No.
Do you think that the producers
Yes.
like pushed them to ask that
fuck
question? 'Cause
yes.
who asks that
no
question?
one has ever asked that question ever.
Right?
That is absurd.
What a weird thing to ask.
That is definitely a producer
What
push.
about, do you work out? Because I think I'm only compatible with people that really like working out.
Wow.
So much coded
language
around like trying to figure out if like they had matched with somebody of a certain body type. I
Let me
was
also
like,
say that like working out and thinness, if that's what they're getting
not
at,
synonymous.
they're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
Like, you know, your body type is your body type. Lots of people I know work out way more and way harder than me and have a higher pant size. Like that is what are you saying? Like you can't equate size to health at all.
No,
Like,
So-
it's stupid.
in a sense, I feel like season 1 was a little innocent. I mean, yes, they did cast like all the like very pretty people and was like drama or something, but this time around feels like bachelor-fied, if that makes sense.
yeah, you know, I'm not surprised by that because it's kind of like that sophomore curse, right? Like I think that the first season of Love is Blind was kind of this accidental hit.
Right,
Like it happened right at the right time. It was just like this surprise hit. And now they're like, oh, we need to capitalize off of the fact that that was so successful.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to recreate this magic that happened naturally. And
There was somebody that did get engaged the first episode, and it was not as cute as the last time. This time I was like,
ugh. No.
Yeah. It just feels fake. I will report back later. I'm sure I know some of our listeners are watching. Please message us
for sure
and give us your thoughts. Don't give us spoilers, but maybe tell us what we should look out for.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to be watching it for sure.
I kind of
love trash.
Love, hate, love this revival of like real trash reality, because nothing will ever top the trashy reality of the early 2000s.
Are you talking like
VH1 reality, like Flavor of Love?
Oh my
no,
God.
I'm
Rock
going
of
back
Love.
further, honey. Jerry Springer,
Yeah.
Montel Williams, Sally Jesse Raphael. I mean,
come in, Phil Donahue.
That was like the original reality TV. But you're right. When VH1 started doing reality stuff,
do you remember Next?
Yes.
Next.
That
okay,
is
so
so
for our
awful.
listeners who don't remember,
sorry, even before that, the dating show was before Next. They had what was the dating show?
Are you talking about Singles?
Singled out.
Yeah. But I mean, Next, like, okay,
awful.
the early 2000s was particularly brutal, like brutal. There was also another one, and I can't remember what the name of it was. So if anyone out there knows, please let me know. But there was another one that was like, they would like come basically like kidnap you, throw you into a van, and then they would have like the like hero protagonist, whatever. And it was all very heteronormative. So they would have like a girl, and then they would send her into like the bedrooms of like 3 different guys. Ugh. And she had to decide who she wanted to date based on like going through all of their shit.
All that. I remember
and they had
this.
to like sit in the van and watch her like pull out all of their underwear and like wave it in front of the camera on national television. And Next was horrifying. Like that show was so...
It was actually watching what people do in the privacy of their home now. That is what Tinder is in your head, in your living room. But it was like live watching people being judgy as
just
fuck,
awful.
Dude.
Yeah, and like to their face, just rip them apart.
Yes.
Like on like the most superficial terms. Like just...
brutal.
I gotta be honest with you. I think we have our fuck, marry, kill right here. Trash reality TV.
Trash reality. Do we want to do like
favorite trash reality?
Favorite like characters or villains or?
Well, if we're going to do trash
villain?
reality villains, I have to do. I don't know if you guys ever watched Flavor of Love, but New York. Tiffany Pollard. Tiffany Pollard.
Wow.
The spit scene cross the world when she spits at pumpkins, or like pumpkin spits at her face.
No.
And she goes after her like a fucking animal.
Oh my God.
It was, I mean, look, horrifying, but also primo television.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why they brought that woman back.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. I might be going back too far, and if it doesn't work, I'll pick something else.
Okay.
Puck.
Oh, I remember
From Real
Puck.
World.
I remember him vaguely.
Awful.
Yes.
He was awful.
Did he have a mohawk? Am I thinking of the wrong person?
I don't know if he had a mohawk. Now I have to like go back.
Well, you can explain like kind of.
Yeah, what was he like? What was his vibe? I want to know. Because I don't remember. Was he just like a fuckboy?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
Like just, oh my God. Oh, I mean, look at him.
Oh, the frosted tips on that guy. Wow.
Girl, you know it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That mischievous little devil right there, Puck.
He was kind of just known for being like an asshole. Like he really like, I feel like because he was in like kind of piss relationship with one of his housemates who had HIV.
Oh,
and like it was really just
real
shitty. He was a shit.
Don't like that.
He was awful.
I don't like that.
He was definitely. I mean, or I could go with like something like Richard Hatch from.
You know who's a great reality show villain that I feel like people have only recently begun to realize is a villain is Tyra fucking Banks.
Okay.
That woman put those girls through on that show.
Wait, that's
sadistic.
And her talk show is a fucking fever
Train
dream.
wreck.
Wait, honestly, I'm like, wait, is this happening on Earth?
Yeah.
Third rock from the sun kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it feels like stepping
And we thought it was
a
fine.
paradox.
We thought it was fine. That speaks to like where we were mentally at the time, where you were watching. Like I watched every season of America's Next Top Model. Watched those girls get ripped apart, and still was like, I think I want to be on that show.
Oh,
I
girl,
know.
we all wanted to.
Yes.
I went to, I think Northland Mall had auditions at one point, and I was like,
I'm going.
Stood in line. I was like, I'm going to be a model.
Yeah, she's woo. And people loved her. Like she got her own TV show, and like I really feel like in the last 5 years or so, people have been like record scratch. Wait.
Yeah.
You fucking wrecked people's lives.
Yeah. Yes.
For real.
For real.
Trauma.
A lot of toxic. Oh my God.
I got a better
the early
one.
2000s were just awful.
Omarosa.
Omarosa.
That is a fantastic one.
Yeah, I'm not doing
Wow.
Puck. He's too awful, and I don't remember enough about him.
Yeah, I think
for
we'd
him.
all probably kill him anyway.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can't be that level of
Douchebaggery.
terrible. Yeah. Woo-wee.
I need to think of one.
Yeah.
All I keep thinking of, the reality shows that I watch the most often are like cooking shows. So like the
Gordon
you could go
Ramsay?
Gordon Ramsay
Yeah.
is definitely like
the villain.
the villain.
When I was like 22, I made a
Please
post.
put him in. We need somebody that we can at least marry.
I made a post on my Instagram. It was probably like heavily filtered and had those like borders on it because that's what Instagram looked like when I was 22. And it was a Man Crush Monday for Gordon Ramsay, and I was like, why am I attracted to this man? Like he was one of those people where I was like,
bulldog.
yeah, he's not attractive,
But
and he's mean.
yeah.
But I
Dude,
was like,
I love when he calls people donkeys. It's so funny to me. Why is it?
He puts the two pieces
Idiot
of bread
sandwich.
in the sandwich. I can't. It's the best meme ever. The best GIF ever.
Dude, I saw a TikTok today that showed this one clip of the show where he's like, Gordon Ramsay's looking at another cook who's like just folding napkins and stuff, and all of a sudden the guy turns around to the kitchen and is like, you cook like old people fuck. It's the only time Gordon like actually like belly laughs. He like he's like he fell in love with that contestant
that's
right
hilarious.
away.
Oh,
I mean, it's truly really funny.
like old people.
And he's really mean, like truly.
Yeah.
He's mean in an unnecessary way where I'm just like, you don't have to be this mean. Like you're mean like this because it's good ratings for you to be this mean.
Exactly.
But it is funny. Like it is really funny. And on MasterChef Junior, he is so nice
So
to those
sweet.
kids. Like he's actually
And
really sweet.
You can tell too from the little interactions that you see with like his wife or like on his TikTok with his kids and stuff. He's actually probably a teddy bear.
Yeah, it's a persona he's putting on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Omarosa, Tiffany New York Pollard, and Gordon Ramsay. And Omarosa, I think she was originally on The Apprentice, but then she did like a shit ton of...
Then she did White House, honey.
Oh God.
Woo!
I mean, I know what
Yeah, I know what
I'm
do.
going to do.
Me too.
I bet watch this all be the
It's
same.
probably the same.
Yeah.
I got to kill Omarosa.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
hate her.
Awful.
Like, there's
The worst.
There are no redeeming qualities.
Not one.
The only thing you can say about her is she is smart, but she's smart in the most like calculating,
awful way.
conniving, just makes my
Serving.
makes my skin crawl kind of way. Tiffany Pollard, New York. I remember whenever I was like, when that show was on, when I was like 14 or 15 on the first season of Flavor of Love, because she did have a long,
storied
reality career after that.
Big time.
I hated her. I mean, you were supposed to. She was the villain. She
Yeah.
was horrible.
Yeah. And then she had her own show.
Then she, I Love New York, I think. Yeah. And however, I also think she is also kind of like
I think she's smart.
a genius.
I think
Yeah.
she's a genius. I think she played us. She played us, and
got to.
I'm gonna marry. I'm gonna marry her.
Oh,
I'm gonna marry her. We might end up in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
possibility.
some spicy energy.
It is spicy. I love it. It's like when we hang out with Amy, I immediately get like electric.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
she
are we
will
gonna
get
fight
into
somebody?
a fist fight for you.
I'm like, And I'm like, I personally don't want to be involved, but I want to be adjacent to the drama.
Oh, then she's the perfect one for you.
From a perch somewhere.
Yeah. And also, I do think she will throw punches.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to pull hair.
Yep.
She's going to pull earrings out.
Yeah.
For you. Like if somebody says something to you.
And if she starts a going, who's next then? Mom is next then. You know.
Oh, and her mom.
No,
is that what you're talking about?
No, I was talking about me.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, Tiffany's mom is also hilarious.
Oh, no.
In a
I was
terrible
talking about
way.
Amy, our friend Amy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to fuck Tiffany.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those situations where I'm like, you know, you so crazy. Like, we're going to be friends. Like we're going to hang out. She's going to be one of those girlfriends that we're going to go to the club. We're going to have a good time. Yes, she's probably going to get kicked out by the bouncer.
Yep.
It's fine. We're going to laugh all the way home and then have a real good night. It's definitely a drunken night.
Yes.
Definitely.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also.
Yeah.
I'm right with you. She's just a
little too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the day to day. For the day in, day out. Like she's a weekend
Yes.
gal pal good time for sure. And then, I'm going to marry Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't think he's never going to yell at me like that. And if he did, I wish.
I actually am going to fuck him, but it's only because the older I get now, the more I realize that I need attention. And I think that motherfucker has at least 32 shows on television.
Yeah.
He must never be home.
Oh, yeah. He's not cooking for his family.
No.
Oh,
so
no,
I
no.
don't get to enjoy that delicious food. He's never home. And so, I know I'm like, he can fly in and we can have our hookup, what have you. But I know day in and day out, I need a little bit more
He's
attention.
actually probably more liable to cook for you when you're just like fuck buddies.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're married,
yeah.
then, to be honest.
Show off.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
I actually, for the same reason, like a Gordon Ramsay, because I
You want your space.
appreciate my space. I like traveling too, so I don't mind like just hitching a ride, and I don't have to hang out with you while you do your thing. I can go do my own thing. I'm a very independent. I don't like a lot of over touchy.
Yeah. Stop touching me.
Yeah, get off me.
I'm kind of the same way.
get
Like
off
I'm
me.
like legit like I get the bed to myself like 9 times out of 10. That's fine.
Mwah.
You know,
Can't
like
wait.
I feel like that's
me
okay.
and the dog,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you know we have a dog.
Oh yeah, he's a dog person
For
for
sure.
sure. Yeah. I feel it. I like it. I'm on board.
Yep.
Great. Well, we have a couple of patrons to shout out.
Hell yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Mandy Fritz. So Mandy, I know from Springfield. She's
cool.
amazing. She actually has a company called 417 Cocktails.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, and they do ship. So you should check out like Google 417 Cocktails, and she makes these like cocktail kits.
Ooh.
Where it's just like you can
I
infuse
love that.
your liquor with like stuff that she puts in there. There's like she makes all of these like really fancy syrups that you can like mix in. Like we just had one that we'd had for a while, and we just decided to make it, and it was this like peach pie cocktail.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, and we did it
Wow.
with bourbon. It was super
Ooh.
good. But anyway,
Even
Mandy, love you. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon family. We are so lucky to have you. And then we also want to shout out Brittany Munn. So Brittany Munn has been a patron for a while, and somehow in just like all of the craziness of these trying times, TM, we never gave you your shout out, and I'm so sorry for the delay. But we want to give you a big worsty welcome now. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for your patience. Thank you so much for listening. And we love you.
Yeah, no medium-sized shout-outs here. Only big ones.
Only big
Only
ones.
extra large.
Yes.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds
Yes.
good.
And we're back. All right, Christina, kick us off.
Okay. So I got mine from Reddit. She says, went on a first date with a guy a few years ago, was a higher up in the Navy, and seemed to really have his shit together. After dating a few garbage dudes, it seemed like I had lucked out. About an hour into the date, he disclosed...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
He disclosed he doesn't use utensils to eat.
Oh, my God. Oh my God. I feel like we've talked about this
I feel like we
before.
have talked about this before. Like, how many people
I know.
don't use utensils? It was a girl last
That's
time.
right.
That's right. And she was like
right.
shoveling
Honey,
spaghetti
we
in her
found
mouth.
your fucking soulmate.
Stop
He
it.
is out there for
Why?
you.
God,
But
there
why-
really is
but
somebody for everyone.
Why? But why? Like, why are you opposed? Like, just is it germs? Bring your own silverware. What's the issue?
1,000 questions.
I just laughed it off and figured he had to use utensils for some foods. A few nights later, I head to his house for a second date.
Okay,
what?
first of all, I'm like, all right.
He wanted to cook me steak and potatoes.
Okay.
What kind? Are they mashed
Abso-fucking-lutely
potatoes? He's
not.
shoveling them into his mouth, scooping them in.
Like, here comes the airplane. Totally forgot all about his no utensil quirk. How do you forget that?
I don't know.
You don't.
You
I
don't.
feel like
It
that
lives
is
in my
a-
head forever.
Exactly. Until he's finishing up and setting the table. This man sets 2 plates, each with about an 8-ounce piece of steak, roasted Brussels sprouts. Why would anyone willingly eat Brussels sprouts on a second date? The breath.
I love
Brussels sprouts, but I
it does.
understand.
It gives you.
yeah.
And roasted potatoes. He sits down.
At least they're roasted, so you can like pop them into your mouth.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly, like candy.
Oh,
My God. He sits down and motions for me to sit next to him at the table. That's another red flag. I want to sit across from you. I want to look at you. I don't like sitting next to
well,
me.
especially
Not
at
your
home.
house.
Like
Yeah.
it's very weird at home.
Right.
Yeah.
He never offers me utensils.
Okay, look, your weird thing is your weird thing. I'm gonna need a fork.
How does he cook?
I mean, I guarantee, like, I guess he's not considering tongs and spatulas like utensils.
Can I use that to eat with?
Right?
Just
Give me a
tong.
serving spoon.
Oh my God. This man picks up his steak like a damn sandwich, one hand on each side,
No,
and starts to chow down. It took me a few seconds to process what was expected of me, but I pop a few of the potatoes in my mouth. After a while, I politely ask if I can please have a fork and knife because I'm not yet at his level of eating. Girl.
Oh, honey.
She's so polite.
This man lets me know he doesn't even own utensils.
That's where it
Then
stemmed from.
don't invite me over.
That's where this stemmed from. He
What are
was
you
like,
doing?
I just moved in. I don't have utensils. Therefore, I don't use them.
Look, you can buy some plastic utensils at the grocery store. I understand single-use plastic, not good for the environment. I get it. However, like that shit costs you like $5 max
You could go
for
to
all of
the
it.
thrift store
Yeah.
and get awesome
There you go.
utensils for
There
your
you
lady
go.
friend.
For 20 cents.
Exactly.
Somebody might give it. They might just give them to you. But you know what? You need them.
Actually,
Please don't eat the steak like a fucking sandwich. I also find out that he separated from his wife only 3 months prior.
she got the
took
utensils in
all
the divorce.
That's right.
That's
since
right.
She knew he doesn't
Yes.
even use them.
That is so
That's why she's divorced. She's like, I cannot.
enough.
Motherfucker, no.
But like you can't
God damn.
look. You have to know that that's an unusual quirk. Inviting someone over to your house for a second date when that's your thing is a bold move. That is a
Yeah.
bold move.
It's so I guess because I always think everything I do is weird and strange, that it's hard for me sometimes to comprehend people who think that nothing they do is weird or strange.
Yeah.
When
that level of confidence is
when they don't use
bold.
utensils.
actually kind of enviable. Like truly, like that level of confidence where you can just be like, yeah, like take it or leave it. This is who I am. You're like, oh,
Well, I mean, okay.
All
I
right.
guess.
you're not hurting anybody, I guess.
So there I am eating a full dinner with my hands like a fucking caveman.
God.
And then listening to how messy his divorce is going.
Whoa.
Messy sounds like everything that's happening
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
This is the name of the game.
My fault for bringing up the utensil stealing wife, I guess. The rest of the night was him drunkenly talking about his wife and sucking on his fingers between
Oh,
God.
What was the reason? What was the reason you don't use utensils? Because if it's a germ thing, I can guarantee you sucking whatever is underneath your fingernails, no matter how often you wash your hands.
hate
Absolutely fucking not. No.
Awful.
Stop
such
it.
a turn off. I kid you not. If he would ask a question about me, he would manage to turn it into something about his ex-wife. I was so utterly uncomfortable. Also, at some point in the night, while I was there, a female friend of his left a bottle of tequila on the front steps without knocking.
Whoa. So weird.
She probably saw me sitting on the couch with him since he left his large front window curtains open and didn't feel like interrupting.
Everything about this man sounds like everything I would hate. Like, okay, I have to ask you, what would be the bigger turnoff? The no utensils or the talking about the ex all night?
Oof.
Like, they're both really
They're both
bad.
Neither of them are getting another date.
Ooh, what is worse?
Okay,
I
the
think
ex.
it's the no utensils,
I think
honestly.
That's a much more fun story to tell.
That's true. I've sat through lots of people bitching about them. And in fact, I've been that person bitching
I mean,
about my
yeah,
ex on
like
a date.
truly.
I have.
Mhm.
So,
yeah,
you
I mean,
know.
I guess I could say that, like, if you had no utensils but really good conversation, then maybe, like, with enough alcohol, like, the night could be salvaged. But, like, if
all
you're
we
just
eat is chicken wings.
Pizza.
That's all you're allowed to eat in public. Do what you want behind closed doors.
Just pizza
But
and
you're all
wings.
mozzarella sticks outside.
That's right.
appetizers only.
Tapas. I was so utterly uncomfortable. Okay, so then he picks up the bottle off the front stoop and read me the note left on it.
Ugh.
Which said,
You didn't have to do that.
No.
Saw you had company. We can drink this together later with a
Ugh.
heart on it.
Ew.
Oh,
Was this man, like, classically handsome or something? Like,
No.
what's happening?
I don't know.
Why do you have so many women lined up?
She says, I practically ran to my car after I said
was his
goodnight.
sister.
Fucking wild. Ew. That's even weird.
Disgusting.
That was about 6-ish years ago, and my friends still laugh at me when we talk about weird dates.
Wow.
Yeah, that would...
That one would stick with you.
That's
for sure. Yeah.
I literally put my hands in the motion
Of a
of eating
Like you're
like
eating a
sandwich.
hamburger. Yeah.
And I was like, you couldn't even, like, slice the steak or something? Because, I mean, even that is still, like, I don't like
Oh.
it. But still, just picking up a freaking New York strip and just eating it like it's
like-
corn on the fucking cob.
Make ribs or something. Like, why would you make steak? Like, why would you make something that's traditionally meant to be eaten with a fork and a knife? Like, just make something that, like, you can
God.
use your... Ease her into it. Ease her into the lifestyle.
Imagine your actual imagine your actual life with this human being.
It'd be
Like
horrible.
you go to a nice resort.
Imagine your wedding.
No.
We're having In-N-Out. That's what's going on.
We're having chicky tendies.
Chicky tendies. Oh Lord. This is your life.
That's why she left him. She's like, I can't do this.
She's like, enough's enough, honestly.
I'm taking the utensils and I'm getting out of here. Goodbye. Dumping them into a suitcase. Bye.
All mine.
He's like, fine, take them. I don't even want them. Ooh. Okay, so I got my story from Reddit. It says, this happened a few years ago, pre-pandemic, but I always use a condensed version of this when asked my worst date ever. We met on a dating app, recognized each other from high school, same grade, but didn't really actually know each other. No classes together ever, I don't think. He didn't play the game. Like no chatting on the top for a couple days and then discussing doing something immediately. Like, what day are you free to do something?
Okay.
Just came in hot. He wanted to see a movie, which I thought was odd for a first date choice for a 30-year-old, but he wanted to see 1917, even weirder.
Whoa.
That
Whoa.
movie is very aggressive.
It's very intense. Like, I actually liked that movie.
I
thought it
really
was-
liked it.
Yeah, really well done. But, like, for a first date? For a first date, we're going to watch people's, like, legs get blown off? Is that what we want to do? Is that what you want to do?
Vibe.
Yeah.
Even weirder first date suggestion. I said, let's compromise and let's see the new Star Wars. He agrees.
Okay.
Day of, he asks if he should pick me up or something, or if we should just meet there. Under any circumstances, I always meet first dates wherever, but I was running behind and I thought it might be a little late. So because it's a movie, there's not a lot of flexibility. So I asked him to just pick me up and I thought it'd be faster. Plus we had a ton of mutual friends. So in my mind at the time, it wasn't a big deal.
I get that.
It's not like he's a total stranger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We agree on what time he needs to be at my apartment in order for me to make it to the movie in time. Let's just say 6:30. At 6:30, he texts saying He's 5 minutes away, so go ahead and go outside and wait on my building's front porch. At 6:45, he texts and says, okay, really 5 minutes away now.
What?
I hate that. As a Midwesterner, you're on
Just
time
wait.
if you're 5 minutes early.
Well, and also, I hate standing outside. Like, even when I'm calling like a Lyft or an Uber or whatever.
I could have waited inside this whole time.
Yeah, I
Fuck
could have
you.
waited inside this whole time. You can text me when you're pulling, like when you're on my street, and it takes me 2 minutes to lock my door and come
You're right
downstairs.
out.
I'm all ready. Like, listen,
I'll be right out.
stop.
7 o'clock, he texts and says he means it. 5 minutes away. At 7:10,
We're canceling the date.
I'm literally turning around to walk back inside and am opening my phone to get ready to text him. Never mind, I'm putting on my PJs on. He calls and says, okay, now he's actually seriously 5 minutes away.
dude, the movie is over. Like,
Yeah.
she's in her PJs.
Dude, I tell you, when I tell you I have so much movie anxiety, like there's no way.
No,
Hey,
you do.
go.
You got to be there seated
I wanna
with your
see
popcorn
all
before the
the
trailers.
previews.
Yeah, all the trailers. I want to be like one of the first people inside the theater.
Yes.
I have so much anxiety about like where I'm sitting. Like it's a thing. I can't help it. My husband knows this. It's a thing. But this I could not. I'm
No,
sweating
I mean,
over.
listen, I think after like the third time,
Yeah.
second or third time
Yeah.
of him doing that, I would be like, you know
Never
what?
mind.
Actually, you don't need to swing by here. Like,
We're done and blocked.
yeah, like,
Yeah, no good. Thanks. 7:15 he arrives. 45 minutes late. Clearly, the movie has long since started, so we decided to just go to a bar instead.
you know, the problem isn't even that he was late. The problem is that he kept saying he was 5 minutes away and didn't
And
tell
you knew you weren't.
Yeah,
You
like
knew you
you
weren't.
knew
5
you
minutes.
weren't.
You knew
Like,
you weren't 5 minutes away.
And I'm sorry, I can't believe she got out of her jammies to go to the bar with him.
Once the pajamas are on,
They're not coming
Oh,
off.
she didn't put the pajamas on.
Oh,
she said she was
okay.
about to turn in. Yeah,
I was like, once pajamas are
Oh, no,
on,
no, no,
but,
no,
like,
we're
things
done.
Are done.
yeah. We done.
This is not happening.
Dunzo, Washington. So I had just gotten into the car, barely even spoken to him yet, and he asks, do you know John Smith? A fake name, obviously, but I had to stop and think about it because it sounded very familiar, but I couldn't place it immediately. Then I say, oh, I think that's my brother's girlfriend's mom's new husband.
Whoa.
And he
Okay.
just goes,
7 degrees. Okay.
Yep. And fastens his seatbelt and starts driving. Sorry?
Ominous. I don't like that.
So I had to add, you knew that? Do you know John Smith? And he says, yeah, he's my brother's wife's dad.
Wait.
Too many.
I can't
too
match.
many-
I
that's
can't
too
match.
many
Do I need
things.
to open up my ancestry?
No, I need literally.
Never-
Someone show me the tree.
Never explained to me how he knew any of this long, weird connection. I make a joke about how late he was. First of all, I have no jokes.
I'm not joking.
Dude, what the
I'm
fuck,
pissed.
bruh?
Like, also, here's the thing. And like,
But that's a typical laugh it off.
not everyone is the same. But for me, I very carefully time my getting ready.
That's
I
exactly
want
right.
my face and my hair to look as fresh as possible when you come to pick me up. So I have timed it to be ready, like right on time.
Exact.
Now I'm having to like sit here with like my face done, my makeup done, probably wearing something like
Outside.
a little bit less comfortable than my jammies or my sweatpants. Like
You could have had that top button unbuttoned that whole time.
exactly. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I had to stand outside in uncomfortable shoes with my makeup melting off my face. I'm furious.
I hate this. I make a joke about how he was late, and he says that he miscalculated how long it was from the neighborhood our school is in, which is where we grew up. I was surprised he was still living there and asked if he worked closer to there than the city or something. He says, no, he still lives with his parents. Emphasis on still, because it turns out he'd never left, ever. Lived there through college and everything, 30 years old, and has never lived without his parents.
Ooh. I mean, are you saving?
Yeah.
Let
is there
me
a
see-
plan in place?
Yeah.
Do you have a 5-year plan?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? What are
I
we doing?
wrote that off because whatever. Not everyone is fortunate enough to afford a house during college, let alone after college at all.
Sure.
And a lot of people stay at their parents, and even in order to save. But what I couldn't write off was once we got to the bar, he started badgering me about why I chose to live in the city. What am I spending on rent? Why would I?
What I do
business?
with my money is my business.
That's right.
Why would I choose to spend that if I'm going to just throw my money away? Why wouldn't I live closer to the suburbs where it's cheaper?
That's just him fucking projecting his own shit onto her. That's all it is. That's him making some excuse like he's so like financially savvy by gaslighting her about her own financial choices.
And look, people have different priorities. And for some people, their independence is more of a priority than,
Correct.
you know.
For me, for sure. That was for me too. Yeah.
I'd rather spend more money.
Yes.
Right? Like, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's just my personal preference. It starts lecturing me about how stupid I am to rent. I said there's tons of reasons I live in where I do and he demanded I list them. Everything fun is in the city and I'm in walking distance. What? You can't Uber?
I can Uber away from this date.
Amen. I'm close to work. I had previously told him I was laid off the week before and he was currently job hunting. You mean you were close to work? What's your excuse now? So after that, I snapped back and said, how about we just consider my rent and I don't live with my parents' fee?
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
You know, yeah, like I wasn't going to say nothing, but you pushed me.
But
You
here
got
we
me
are.
there. You got me there.
Here we are.
Plus, my first job was not in my hometown. I didn't have the option, and moving back in with my parents after getting a job here feels like going backwards. I told him I was ready to go pretty shortly after that. We get in his car, and he starts talking as though he's coming back to mine.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. You're going home to mommy and daddy. We're done.
No. He thought this went well enough that I'm inviting him into my apartment. I told him
the one you've
we're
been
not doing
berating
that.
me for having this entire time.
Thank you. Why? Because I don't want you to come up. Okay. Sorry. Or should we get back in the back seat then?
Whoa.
Bold move, Cotton. Like,
I'm sorry. We're parked in a busy street with lots of bars and restaurants.
I mean,
it's like
straight
8:30 on a Friday night.
Has an apartment that you've been talking shit about all night.
Yes.
And you have asked her to go up into it.
Yep.
And she said no. So your next play
Yes.
is to say maybe she'd be more comfortable in the back of my,
Like,
what I'm guessing is
Honda
a Toyota
Civic. Yeah.
Tercel.
Come on.
And on a fucking busy bar street. That is the most nonsensical like leap in judgment I've ever seen. Like,
Also,
no,
listen,
you know
You
what?
did not math.
I'm not saying I'm above it.
Oh,
As a 31-year-old woman. Like, if you really like, but you have to really like someone to want to fuck them in the back of a car at a certain age. Like, where you're like, I'm not saying don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
just saying you got to have a certain level of like attraction to a person to be like, we need to do it here in the back of this uncomfortable sedan.
And I will bet you money that if you had an apartment nearby, you'd prefer to do it there.
100%.
Versus,
Like, I'm sorry.
I think
like,
you're just selling this apartment idea. really, really selling it. I want to puke. I demand he takes me home. He won't. He just continues to try to convince me to get in the back seat.
Ew.
He pivots to the argument that I won't let him up to my apartment. Then what else are we supposed to do? It is literally not even occurring to him that I do not want to hook up with him. No matter how many times I ask he take me home, he just keeps trying to argue that I get back in the back seat.
I
Finally,
hate him.
I have the idea that if I make him feel like shit, he'll give up. So I start asking if hooking up in the backseat is what he always has to resort to after dates since he lives with his parents. Oh, damn. She's like, well, fine, I'm going to come
She's like,
for you.
I fucking tried.
Yeah.
I tried to be nice. I tried to be nice.
yeah.
He doesn't exactly have another option. It's like he's still in high school. Laughable. I understand looking back now how risky this decision was, but it worked. I do think if we didn't know a lot of the same people, it probably would have escalated instead. That's a really good point. I see you're like clenching your fist because that is something that could turn.
It's dangerous. You're in a closed space. She's absolutely right. Is that they were lucky they have mutual friends in common, but we've done enough Tainted Love stories.
Sometimes
and,
that doesn't even matter.
Doesn't even matter. Yeah. And so
you wonder why like women skirt around like being direct about things,
Right.
but it's because like it can put you in a very dangerous situation if you are.
Absolutely.
So
He gets pissy and embarrassed and takes me home. He still texts me every day after. He somehow still believes this went well and a second date is happening. I had told him at some point on the date that over the next week I had several job interviews. Texting during work hours. When I don't respond immediately, he starts getting pissy all over again.
Block.
Honey, sir.
Blazak.
Yeah. I respond saying I've been in interviews, and he acts like I'm, quote, too little too late. Like I'm being punished by him for not wanting to talk anymore.
The level of delusion is staggering.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. After like 3 days of this, I just block him.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, kudos to you for making it 3 days. I would have
3
blocked
minutes
as soon as you got home. Yeah.
but I'm like doing it as I unlocked my front door.
Yeah, block.
Oh, the audacity. Okay. This one's also not going to make you super happy.
Oh,
okay.
great.
Not my bad date, but here we go. When I was in my mid-20s, I was working as a server at a mid-scale restaurant in Chicago. We're talking a couple steps above Chili's, but a step or two below Morton's Steakhouse, if that gives you an idea.
Yes.
It does. That's
Totally.
very good.
Yeah.
That's a perfect spot. I know exactly what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One night, a guy and a young woman came in, and they were clearly on a date.
Yes.
The woman was probably in her early 20s, and the man maybe late 30s, early 40s. Now, I'm not someone who will judge an age difference. Love is love. Age is just a number and all that. But right from the beginning, something felt off about these two. They were sat at a table in my section, and when I went over to introduce myself and take their drink order, starting with her, the man cut her off and ordered a bottle of red wine.
No.
She looked slightly taken aback, and I thought this was rude, but... and forgive me for saying, but I feel anyone who's worked as a server will be able to relate. It was a pretty expensive bottle of wine, and part of me was already envisioning my tip. So I brushed it off and went to get the wine. When I got back to the table, I uncorked the bottle and went to pour. The man put his hand over his glass and gestured to the woman, asking me to pour her a glass. Again, odd, but I go ahead and pour it anyway, then go to take their order. Again, the man steps in before the woman can answer and orders her a Caesar salad, no chicken. At this point, I'm starting to get annoyed. I check with the woman and say, "Are you sure I can't get you anything else?" She goes to answer, but the man cuts her off. She's sure. Then he takes her menu and his own and hands them back to me. He had ordered a steak and mashed potatoes for himself. The girl looks extremely uncomfortable. Now my hackles are raised. I keep an eye on the table and find busy work for myself nearby so I can listen in on the conversation.
I'm rolling silverware.
Right.
Yep. I'm wiping
down
the same
table.
Salt and pepper shaker. Just side-eyeing.
Yes.
Blink twice.
He's peppering her with compliments intermixed with backhanded insults.
Ugh.
You look really pretty tonight. I mean, that dress is a little tight for your figure, don't you think? But don't worry, I don't mind. Things like that.
Oh.
I just got like chills.
Ugh.
That's
The negging.
disgusting.
I also noticed that he made sure her glass was always full, even waving me over to order a second bottle before the entrees came out, though he barely drank anything at all.
Ugh.
At this point, I'm getting pretty concerned. The girl looks uneasy and more than a little tipsy. I'm sure she was drinking partly out of nervousness and partly because she sensed that he was pressuring her.
Yeah.
I continue listening as I walk past, and it becomes increasingly clear to me that this man is a predator. He keeps insulting her to the point where it looks like she may start crying. Then I notice he has his hand on her thigh under the table. She has her legs held tightly together. Everything about her body language screams that she doesn't like him touching her. I let the bartender, Justin, a big, burly guy, in on what I'm suspecting and ask that he keeps an eye on the situation as I tend to other tables. As I serve the entrees, the girl gets up to use the bathroom and I follow her in. Mm-hmm. She's wobbly and looks on the verge of tears. I ask if she's okay and she says she is. I suspect that she's trying to be polite or unintrusive, so I go out on a limb and say, "Hey, listen, forgive me if I've got it wrong, but I've seen a lot of first dates and that guy seems like a real asshole. If you want to sneak out the back, I'm more than happy to show you the way and call you a cab." This was before Lyft and Uber. Poor thing starts crying right there and says that she just wants to go home, but she's scared, and plus she left her purse at the table. I tell her not to worry about that and to hold tight in the bathroom. On the way back to her table, I let Justin in on what's going on and ask if he can call a cab. When I get back to the table, I put on a smile and say, "Ran into your date in the bathroom. She left her purse and has something she needs. Subtext tampons.
Yes, man.
Exactly. You ever want to stop
Yes.
questions?
They're like, yep,
right there.
exactly.
You bring up.
She's bleeding from
red.
her vagina.
Yeah.
Say no more.
And she's asked me to take them to her. I go back to the bathroom, hand the girl her purse, and then escort her out the back. The cab arrives quickly, thank God. I get her in and on her way before going back in. I get back in and start doing my rounds like nothing happened. About 10 minutes go by, and then as I pass the table with the man, he grabs my wrist.
No, you don't.
Oh.
Not on my fucking watch, you don't. No.
The manager kicks you out.
When I turn to look at him, he is furious, like scary furious. You know that thing that people say happens to the eyes of serial killers when the switch flips?
Oh, no.
Yeah, like that.
No. Oh, no.
He starts yelling at me, going in on me about what happened to his date. Where is she? I must have had something to do with it since I came and got her purse. What did I say to her? Etc. He's calling me all sorts of names. Stupid bitch and whore are the ones that stick in my memory.
Okay.
One. And
Wow.
Justin's about ready to.
Yeah, come over that bar.
And he is doing so at a high volume. Justin is already on his way over when the man stands up and gets in my face so close that I can feel his breath. I was terrified. Suddenly, he's yanked back, and I can see that Justin has grabbed him by the collar and is pushing him along. The other tables are speechless. If you've ever seen someone get kicked out of a bar or restaurant in the movies, heaved onto the sidewalk, yeah, that's what happens here.
Wow.
He's screaming.
Justin, please tell me you guys got married, because...
He's screaming about wanting to speak to the manager. He can't believe he's being treated like this and on and on. Justin just says that if he ever sees him again in the restaurant or not, he'll kick his ass.
Yeah.
When we get back inside, Justin asked if I'm okay. I told him I was shaken, but all right. At the end of the night after my shift, Justin poured me a shot of whiskey on the house. I waited for him to close up, and then he walked me to my car. He did that every night for the next month just to make sure I was safe. We started dating not long after. Though we did break up a few years later, we still remain very good friends. It's one of those relationships you feel lucky to have had, even if it didn't last. I still think about that girl to this day and hope she's doing okay and that she never had to see that piece of shit again.
No.
Wow.
Man.
Story
Thank
had
God for
a little bit of
servers.
everything.
Thank God for
Exactly.
servers.
Honestly, and I've said it before on this podcast, if you are a hiring manager and you don't speak to that person that was a stellar server, you're missing out on a hell of an employee.
Oh.
Because they work so hard
Yes.
for no money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and they have to be able to do so many different tasks that it's silly to me when people discount food service workers.
Or anybody
Absolutely.
in the customer service field.
Yeah,
For sure.
exactly.
For sure.
There's so much multitasking that goes on when you
Exactly.
work at a restaurant. Like, wow.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I know there's been conversations or whatever since like the pandemic about essential workers and everything like that, and just treating people with respect. Anyways, I have a tainted love for you.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
man.
It's got an anti-aging serum.
What?
It has shape-shifting aliens.
Oh,
How did you find these stories?
my
How,
God.
where are you looking?
I am going to tell you the story of the disappearance of Girly Chew Hossencofft.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Cannot wait.
Okay. So Girly Chew was born in the 60s in Malaysia. She's a tiny, petite girl with a huge smile. In the early 90s, she made a fateful visit to SeaWorld, where she met a diminutive but charming man named Diazian Hossencofft. They dated very briefly.
Hell of a name.
It is. I mean, and
Rolls off the tongue.
Girly is also, I mean, wow. There's a lot of, name-wise, there's a lot happening.
A lot going on here.
Yes. Names, capital letters, all lights. So they dated very briefly before they said I do in 1993, and they settled down for domestic life in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Girly got a job as a bank teller for Bank of America and was very popular with coworkers as she was dependable, like never late, ever, and super friendly. So kind of good
ideal.
life.
Yeah. Ideal employee.
Now, here's the issue. Diazian Hossencofft was actually born Armand Chavez in Houston in 1965.
I'm sorry.
I like that name better.
Dawson Cough is something he chose?
Yes.
Why? I mean, okay, look, for all the Dawson Coughs, I'm just saying that's
Is that
like
is that even a real name?
Hossencofft, and it's a double F too. I've never seen a name like this before.
Why?
It's a lot of letters.
Huh.
Okay, whatever. It's fine.
So he was born Armand Chavez in Houston in 1965, and Diazian meets Girly at SeaWorld, and he's like, I'm actually a thoracic surgeon with many, many fancy degrees.
Okay.
I am also a geneticist with these degrees that can cure leukemia.
Okay.
And I also can make it this special serum that can reverse the aging process.
Okay.
So
he's like, I'm actually 95.
She's like, why am I going to work? I feel like you should be making bank on this.
Thank you.
Like, I have an office job?
Tons of money. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Mainly treating women, breast cancer, all kinds of stuff, saying he has this serum that would not only cure their breast cancer, but also reverse the aging process. It's so
predatory.
sad. This guy is a predator. For those of you guys that just watched Tinder Swindler, this guy is worse. So I also forgot to say, trigger warning for upcoming domestic violence, cannibalism.
What?
Sorry.
Yeah. And I got a lot of this information from Murderpedia, SeptemberSacrifice.com, Reddit, and I listened to an episode of Crime Junkie.
Oh,
they did this case.
Okay. Wow.
So, yes. All right. So he's able to earn so much money bilking women, but Girly just thinks he's a successful doctor. He just goes away on business trips all the time.
Businessmen doing business.
Businessmen out doing business, and the bills are getting paid, so what have you. But the marriage between Diazian and Girly sours fast. Girly learned that she is having trouble becoming pregnant. It could have been due to her very diminutive stature. She's only 5 foot, like 85, 90 pounds. She was tiny, really, really small. So they were just having trouble with it. And Diazian was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive to the fact that Albuquerque police, he was on their radar. And Girly was just really relieved when he went away. In fact, once in 1996, he randomly came back with a baby boy.
What?
I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. We're just rolling along here. And then what?
Yeah. So he comes back with a baby from one of his business trips.
How do you feel? Like, what's going through your mind when you're like
a baby, like a newborn baby?
All right, proceed.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So he's like, yeah, we're going to adopt this baby.
Are we? Diazian?
He's like, I have this baby. His name's Dimitri. And so...
What?
Named him on the bus right over.
Exactly. This is Dimitri. He lives here now. And Grace is like, okay, we never talked about adoption, but I guess
is that how adoption happens?
What would any of you do?
I've been adopted, and so I feel like this is maybe my wheelhouse. But
yeah.
Chris
just comes home with a newborn.
No,
like you got questions.
He does not.
Right?
No.
Like you got some questions.
Whose baby is that?
Whose baby is that? How'd you get that baby?
How'd you get that baby? So she's like, okay, well, I guess you adopted this baby, and so she's like raising it, invested in it. She learns 3 years later that the boy was actually Diazian's, spoiler alert, that he had fathered on one of his business trips with a woman in Canada who was so frightened of him that she signed over her rights, her parental rights to the boy, just so she would never have to deal with Diazian again.
Poor baby.
Honey. But then you just handed over your baby to that monster.
Right.
No.
By 1999, things had reached a breaking point. And so, like, they had been married for less than 7 years. Girly was like, I'm done. I figured out you're a con artist. You're not a real doctor. Those are not real degrees. You don't have an anti-aging
the
serum.
ink smudged on them. Like, that's from your inkjet printer, isn't it?
There was literal misspelling on his, like, whatever that
Doctor.
Fancy word
DOCTER.
Pretty much, like, it was full of misspellings, like, so obviously fake. It's so sad that he was able to con so many women, because by this point, by 1999, he is married to Girly Chew, but he's also engaged to 3 other women.
Whoa. Okay.
How?
Yeah. All right.
How?
Again,
this guy sounds awful. How?
Oh, and wait until I send you
Oh, God.
everything.
Oh, God.
It's we haven't even gotten to the bonkers part yet. So
great.
yeah. So 3 different women. And so Girly's like, we're done. I'm getting a divorce. Like, we're done. And
I'm taking Dimitri with me.
She's got to be so attached to that kid, too.
She
like,
is.
that's got to be awful.
she is fighting for, like, her right to, like, half the marital property, and she wants to have some custody of Dimitri. And Diazian is not
Of
having
course
it.
not.
In fact, like, threatens her so much that Girly goes to her coworkers. She goes to the police. She contacts the FBI and gets a hold of and talks to people. So her coworkers and friends, the police, and the FBI all know that this person with a history of domestic violence has made not just death threats, but death promises to her. That's how she put them. It's not a threat. It's a promise.
Yeah.
And they did nothing.
Are they still in Albuquerque?
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not calling out the Albuquerque police at all, but aren't I calling?
I am.
There you go. There you go.
He's like, but am I?
Legitimately, everybody knew, like, she was terrified for her life. And that's the part of the story that, like, really
That's
sits
frustrating.
with me.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's like that thing with you with, like, no one's believing me. Like, my life is in danger, and I've told so many people, and no one fucking believes me.
It is my nightmare.
So he's Diazian, engaged to 3 different women. One of the lucky ladies he was engaged to was Linda Henning. Linda was a successful fashion designer in the 80s and early 90s. I think her brand name was like Running Horse or something, but she was making like $800,000 a year off of it. So that was like, that's successful.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. Sure.
She's very down to earth, and she's engaged to be married to somebody else. So she's really into UFOs and like the X-Files and stuff. So she's part of this UFO fan club that gets really excited because there's a seminar happening at the local college hosted by none other than David Icke, who...
Oh my God. Is this David Icke? Is this David Icke?
Yes. David Icke actually had this whole seminar in the summer of 1999 where she got to learn that the world is controlled and manipulated by an unseen global network of interdimensional pedophiliac shape-shifting reptilians.
Oh my God.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, David Icke, the inventor of the reptilians conspiracy theory.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
And
God.
she...
pedophilia.
This is the
Reptile.
the beginning of
This is QAnon origin story.
Exactly.
Roots. Yeah.
roots
Yeah,
are
yeah.
growing
Yeah.
here for sure.
Oh, wow.
And she's like,
She's in.
yes.
She's like, yes.
This makes so much sense.
This is
I've been
actual facts.
feeling it for a while now.
Been knowing this.
Diazian is like, you know what? You have like this special energy about you. I guess I can tell you that I'm actually a 2,000-year-old immortal alien.
Whoa. Cassie's on the floor.
And I'm also in the CIA.
Cassie just passed out. She's on the literal floor right now.
A 2,000-year-old immortal alien CIA agent.
I have to say, That's worse than when we have talked about immortal vampires on this podcast. We have talked about people who think that they're werewolves. A 2,000-year-old immortal alien CIA agent, I think
that's quote unquote.
It's right at the top of the list.
Is he related to the guy that you told that dating story about?
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yes.
The one with the pyramids or batteries? Are you talking about that guy? He might be. He might. Dude, there were a lot of people like, listen,
what if it's true?
What if it's true? And we're like, reptilians. And then it's like, oh. That's what I want to know. Okay. So 2 weeks later, Linda dumped her fiance. They've known each other for 2 weeks. She's like, goodbye to her fiance.
She's like, I'm sorry, I met an immortal alien.
Yeah,
who is also in the CIA.
Yeah, he's got a real job. I got to take this opportunity up. Bye.
And her fiance was like, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's all that. Plus, he's also still a doctor. By the way, I forgot.
Still a geneticist.
So he's Dr. Alien, Dr. Immortal Alien, CIA agent.
What in the resident
PhD,
alien
Esquire?
What in the resident alien is going on?
It's horrifying.
No. Oh my God. So she's like, we're getting this. She goes full on into a serious romantic relationship with Diazian. Her close friend, this guy named Steve Zachary, I read a couple interviews with him where he's like, it was like a switch flipped in her. She stopped changing her clothes. She stopped bathing. And she just started like, she would like curse with people. Like they were going to try to get her. They were like, is this a mental health event or what is going on? And she's like, no, like Diazian has told me this and Diazian told me that. And she just like was brainwashed almost immediately.
2 weeks is no time. Like 2 weeks is no time at all. Like that is such a wow. Like what kind of magnetic charismatic personality could loop somebody in 2 weeks like this?
So Henning begins sending her friend Steve Zachary increasingly bizarre letters. Life ends on this planet. A letter dated August 7th, 1999 from Henning states, the reptilians are led by a queen back on the moon base. Do you know any way at all to reach Dan Aykroyd or Mel Gibson? They are very aware of the situation and would help, I truly believe. We have a contact to Spielberg. However, he is one of them, traitor. George Bush is a full-fledged reptilian. He maintains the visage by the use of magnetic fields to create holograms. Whew. So that's a lot.
Listen,
there's so much to unpack right now.
It's a lot.
Dan Aykroyd's my favorite part so far.
Dan Aykroyd.
And Mel Gibson.
He's an ally.
I
can see why people would be concerned and think it is a mental health.
I would be extremely concerned.
Yeah, especially because it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
That would be my first thought.
Well,
and this is before all the Q stuff, because right now you can find a lot of people saying stuff similar to this.
But I mean, I would argue
in your own family.
I would argue that brainwashing is a mental health event.
That's a great point.
Like this is not, you are not in your right mind. Like you might not have anything diagnosable, but this is not, your brain isn't working the way that it would work under normal circumstances. Something is not right. It's not clicking correctly.
I can't imagine too how helpless you would feel if you were that person's friend. You know, if I saw one of you guys going into something like where I was concerned for you, there's really not a lot I can fucking do.
Well, we've seen it. We've seen it a lot.
We're gonna pull
we're gonna have
intervention,
a deprogram situation.
Yeah.
But we've seen it a lot over the last few years. Like when you're operating on different planes of reality, there's no reasoning with people. Like that's what makes it so difficult. Dude. Is like if you're operating from completely different sets of facts,
right?
Then there is just what are you supposed to do? Like you can't do anything. There's no changing someone's mind who believes that that's reality
with it, because then they get further entrenched in on their
so
side.
Scary.
It's so scary. This story terrifies me for so many different reasons. So, okay, she's like telling all of her friends off. People are concerned about her, and then she starts telling coworkers that they're going to get married. Cool. Despite the fact that he's still not.
Dr. Alien.
Please listen, not that either of you would, but neither of you put me through this. I would be. It's
meet
so
someone
much.
and get married in 2 weeks.
No, just like please don't join a cult or like anything. Like, don't get brainwashed in a way where I'm like, I gotta try and figure out how to help you,
how to navigate this.
Yeah, like it's so like I can't imagine being her friend. It would be so scary and sad and hard.
So
where's Dimitri? I need to know.
Is Dimitri safe?
Dimitri right now is still with Diazian. And actually, by August, they're still going back and forth about the divorce and that sort of thing. And I think it's August 26th where Girly actually finally signs her rights away to Dimitri. And in fact, the saddest part about this story, I think, is that years later, like in 2013, Dimitri's final adoptive mother wrote a book called Mommy Number 13.
Oh no.
Honey,
oh no.
Baby.
Because by the time he had been passed and stuff. And so she wrote about that experience and how she, ended up someday like telling Dimitri like who his father was and stuff.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And just the issues that he faced bonding
Of
with
course.
people. Yeah.
My
it's
gosh.
just heartbreaking. This poor... So yeah, so he gets Girly to sign away the rights, and then what he does is he calls up an adoption agency and is like, yeah, I'm gonna die of leukemia and I need somebody to take this kid.
You're
Monster.
fucking kidding me.
Monster.
He
like Dimitri could have had a loving home with Girly, and he could have been rid of the
could have had a
responsibility.
loving home with his birth mother.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this guy tortures women out of it so badly that they're like, they feel like they don't have any other choice but to just, and this poor kid is collateral damage.
Oh, this is so
Because
fucking
he's
awful.
so narcissistic and selfish.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like, I just don't want you to have it.
Ugh,
But this is
ew.
inconvenient for me right now. So it's just,
wow.
isn't that awful?
terrible person.
Oh,
Use a
my
child as a
God.
pawn like that. Oh man, it's so blah 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 blah. Like, so finally now it's September 9th. People around town see Linda Henning and Diazian hanging out along with Diazian's friend and Linda's friend too. He was part of the UFO fan cult, Bill Miller, hanging around. One of the neighbors actually sees Diazian come back to his place. He's wearing all camo and he's put grease paint all over his arms and his face.
No.
That's never
Which is a
like
frightening thing to see when
absolutely.
you're looking out your window.
Just, yeah.
yeah.
Washing your dishes.
I would never feel comfortable seeing that in any circumstance.
None.
Even on Halloween, if I'm walking down the street and I see that, I'm like, lock your windows.
No.
Like,
That's
no.
Something not right is happening. So, and then the next morning, September 10th, 1999, it's like 5 minutes after Girly's shift starts, and they're like, nope, that bitch, never
No.
late. Never late, ever, ever.
These coworkers are about
These coworkers
to sound
like,
the
no.
alarm.
Well, and also
They
she's
know.
like, this dude's gonna kill me. He keeps saying he will. So they call the police. They're driving over to her house. They're like, what is going on? And they're like looking, and everything looks fine at first, except for there's wet spots that look like they've been cleaned, and it smells of bleach.
Okay.
Never a good sign.
No.
So like, let's go talk to her estranged husband, Diazian Hossencofft. They go over to this motherfucker's house. The door is wide open and it is empty of everything. Nobody's home.
That's not suspicious.
Nothing is in the home
at all.
It is gone. It is up and left.
Aliens.
Exactly. So they ask neighbors. They're like, okay, do we know where this guy went? And he's like, some of his neighbors tell him about the grease paint thing. And then they're like, and yeah, he said he was going to move to El Paso to get leukemia treatments.
Oh.
So they are like, okay, we got to find this guy. Word is around town, that he was telling people he was going to kill her. So we just got to find him and talk to him. Like, Girly's missing by this point, but the wet spots, when they luminol, there's blood everywhere. So they're like, it doesn't look good. We'll just say that. They finally catch up to Diazian, And they get out of him like that Linda and Bill were like his alibi for the day before. So they talk to Linda. Meanwhile, another police crew driving like out in the woods about an hour away from their house finds a tarp with what looks like children's clothes covered in blood.
Oh, no.
But
because she's so
small.
Oh, that's
so
awful.
It took a while for all the evidence to get together. Once they're testing it, they're like, okay, the blood is definitely Girly's. There's also hairs and other blood on here. There's cat hair on it. And there's also this other blood belongs to Linda Henning. So they search Linda Henning's house and they find a giant ninja sword in the garage.
Always a good sign.
That's
a ninja sword. I feel like a ninja sword has gone badly on this podcast more than once.
Right. They search Bill Miller's house in the truck and they find a journal in it where he's talking about the pituitary gland and how if the subject is frightened, then it makes a drug strong like heroin. So that is like eerie. There's blood evidence on the sword, and there's enough other circumstantial evidence that they are able, without a body, because they still have never found one.
Well, because there's enough blood that no one could have survived it.
Right. With the blood and with the clothes and with everything else, there's enough random pieces of circumstantial evidence in Diazian.
And she's gone to the police and the FBI. She did everything that she could to say, like, hi, I think I'm in danger.
Right.
I feel like I'm in danger. I feel like I'm in danger from this person in particular. Like, okay.
So, yeah, they charge Diazian and they charge Linda Henning with the murder. The grand jury refuses to indict Bill Miller for charges of murder, but he gets brought up on, like, tampering with evidence and little stuff like that.
Accessory after the fact, like things like that. Like,
yeah. So Diazian actually surprises everyone when he changes his plea to guilty, supposedly to avoid the death penalty, because that was definitely on the table in New Mexico. So they're like, okay, we'll let you plead out if you tell us where the body is. And then he's like, and I also want to go to this Wyoming prison specifically.
What? I don't think that's how that works.
They give it to him. They're like, you're going to plead guilty and tell us, where the body is. Let's do this. So
he's like, it's in my tummy.
Stop. Oh, no. I forgot.
You mentioned it. Yeah.
Well, he never tells them and still hasn't said.
So then how's he in this Wyoming
You don't get
prison?
to go to Wyoming then?
No, sir.
He's in Wyoming. So apparently you do what you want, apparently.
Wow.
Linda decides to go forward with her trial, and her main defense rests completely on Diazian testifying. His defense for her says, Linda was not involved at all. I had vials of her blood, and I planted it there.
Wait, Diazian covers for her?
Yeah, Diazian covers for her. It's like she was not involved whatsoever.
That feels weird for like a narcissist to be like,
oh, yeah.
interesting.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
So he testifies for the defense.
I'm so confused.
He's like, I planted her blood. And she's like, yeah, he did, because he had this other woman's blood that we were going to plant at the, he was going to plant at the scene, but he ran out and he needed more. So I gave him blood. And I wasn't involved.
That doesn't math.
But they have so many other circumstantial evidence pieces. Like Linda bought the tarp. The cats are Linda's. Neither of the other guys have cats. And her blood is mixed in with it. So it just seems implausible to me that despite
this is obviously not true.
Yeah.
Fucking fake news.
Yeah, so many lies. So she ends up getting 73 and a half years in prison.
Yeah,
and she's in prison in New Mexico. And Bill
She
Miller...
didn't get that Wyoming deal, huh?
No, she didn't go for it. She went to trial, so... and Bill Miller, I got time served pretty much, but all circumstantial evidence shows that he's like a big part of this basic murder. So the last thing I'll leave you with is that apparently the prosecutor was going to push, there was a rumor of cannibalism in that like they had been telling people that they ate her and that's why you can't find the body. And so when a cellmate asked Linda, like, what happened? What did you guys do? She just made an eating gesture.
No.
And that is the terrible, tragic disappearance of Girly Chew Hossencofft.
We're not okay.
No.
I need to do something a little less out there next.
Deeply upsetting.
Tainted Love. That is a lot.
Well, I had not heard that one.
No.
So, thank you, question mark, for bringing that to our attention.
Wow.
But yeah, oh my goodness. Like that was very intense and so sad in so many ways. Like that's just devastating in so many ways.
The people that needed the system to help them, that were going about it the right ways, Girly, Dimitri, it's just heartbreaking to me.
I almost gave myself a headache right now, rolling my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's sometimes it's really difficult. The system has to want to help you for it to work.
Right.
For you to be able to do the things that you need to do for the system to help you. The system has to reciprocate. And sometimes it doesn't. And like, that's really sad.
Yeah.
Oh God. And my heart breaks for Dimitri as well. He had many opportunities to have like a comfortable,
happy
stable
ending.
life.
Apparently, like he has a family and he seems happily married and like grown up and adjusted now. So
that's amazing.
Wow.
Actually.
So yeah.
Wow.
Happy ending. That's one thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I mean, genuinely, like,
are you thanking her for that?
She didn't tell the story supremely. Did an incredible job. The storytelling was on point.
But you got me nightmares. You got like,
I cannot believe this hasn't been more
widely covered.
I guess it's on a bunch of different shows. I just missed them.
I did too.
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah. So. I mean, and my family's from Albuquerque, so I'm very surprised that like I've never heard this.
It was a huge case in the early 2000s. She went on trial in 2003.
That is so surprising. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. I must have been tuning that shit out. Wow.
Of course, you were like, what, 5?
2003. I was 13.
There you go.
So, well, this feels weird for me to say, but what have you guys been watching? It's usually Christina who says it.
Well, I mean, I told you guys I started Love is Blind season 2. I also watched the first 2 episodes of Severance on Apple TV.
Ooh, what is
Severance is an office thriller starring Adam Scott and Patricia Arquette.
Oh, I love it. Sold immediately.
It is basically, the idea is, it's like this mid-century modern office that you're like, what is it they even do? And
drink
in
whiskey.
Order to work there, you have to have your mind severed so that at work, you only remember your work memories, and at home, you only remember your home memories.
I'm going to watch this tonight. I think tonight I'm going to watch it.
So fucking good so far. I am hooked. It's so good. I can't recommend it more.
I love both of those people too so much. Like, Adam Scott, love him. We gotta formulate some kind of FMK where we can like jerry rig Adam Scott in there because I love him. And Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette is so fierce in this show.
I love her
too.
so much.
Oh, menacing.
She's underrated.
Remiss with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love her.
So good in this. Just like she has this very like ominous
she's good
quality
at that.
To her, and
she's a little scary. She's got like a scary vibe. Yeah, like a little bit. She's got kind of like low-key vampire vibes. Coming from Patricia Arquette.
One, she has never aged, right? Like barely.
So I've just been trying to get through The Sopranos. I'm on season 5 of The Sopranos, which is the best season so far. Like it's such a good season. Although I want to go back in time and take back every even remotely kind thing I ever said about Tony Soprano. I hate him so much. I think James Gandolfini is
brilliant.
Incredible.
He's so brilliant.
A lesser actor, this character would be unwatchable. You know, like James Gandolfini is incredible. But I did start getting curious with Jonathan Van Ness.
Yes. Yeah. So good.
He's so cute. I will say, like, it's a little young vibes.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like it's the kind of thing that I would have loved to have watched. Like I feel like because this is how old I am. Like, you know, when you're in school and like there's a substitute and they wheel in that TV
cart, the AV cart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a TV strapped in.
Yes.
That they would have us watching Getting Curious with Jonathan Van Ness, because you do like his energy is so perfect for a show like that. I do feel like he genuinely wants to learn things. Like he puts himself out there to like learn new things, and it's very, very cool.
His podcast is really good too.
I've never listened to the podcast.
Getting Curious is a really good podcast.
Yeah, but the show is very cute, and I would say, especially for like younger listeners, or you know, kids of listeners, it's a great. He's got such a good energy for that. So yes,
Nice.
Adorable.
I, again, another week of wild school homework, you name it. So I have been, it's called a show called Secrets on Hulu. And it's about like secret mysteries of like,
always
just
good. Always
ancient world
learning stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's just
I will say
every night falling asleep to that.
And I wanted to shout this out because it was so good. I read The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett.
Yeah.
If you've not read that book, I seriously read it in like a day. It's like a, you know, like 350 page book. I just like blew through it in like a day. It's so good. And they're making an HBO Max series coming up soon. So if you want to get ahead of that, you should pick that book up this Black History Month. Go for it.
You got it. Well, if you have something that we should watch or read, if you've got terrible, terrible dating stories, or if you just want to reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of website. It's myworstatepodcast.com. And we love you guys so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.